I jumped the gun, sorry.
Yeah,
I already let Nate in. There he
good.
is.
I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I'm now gonna recess the regular meeting. Take a motion to open the public hearing on the annexation of DD 32 and 72.
Motion to open public hearing 32 and 72.
I can second it.
I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
All right, thanks. My name is Jacob Hagan. I work
Just a
for,
second. Nate, could you please mute?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, there you go.
my name is Jacob Hagan. I'm an engineer with Bolton and Mink out of Jefferson, Iowa. We were asked by the Board of Supervisors to look at drainage districts 72 and 32 for reclassification and annexation. They hadn't been reclassified since they were established. So it's just a cleaning up of the county records for any future maintenance that's scheduled. Just as a reminder, so these maps that we've handed out are not the actual amounts that we assessed. We'll talk about this more at the reclassification area, but I just wanted to bring that up right from the start, that these are not the actual dollars that anyone would pay at this time. We're here for the annexation is first. The annexation is 72. This map here, everyone see this all right? The areas that are shaded in blue are lands that we found that were benefited from the facilities of Drainage District 72, but are not currently on the schedule for 72. So these are lands that have been using the facilities provided by 72, but have not been paying assessments in the past since this was established. Our recommendation is to bring them in at this time so that they can pay for future maintenance. The majority of the land here is on the west side of the district, and it is served by a private ditch, but that ditch outlets into lateral 1B open ditch. Because that lateral one, if this drainage district did not exist, they would not have been able to outlet their private ditch to the same elevation as lateral 1B. So there's a benefit received so that water is served, this district is serving as an outlet. They're able to dig their own ditch much deeper than what they would have been able to prior to the construction of laterals 1B on 71. There's also these lands to the east that are being served by lateral 1A tile. Lateral 1A tile goes right through those properties, and they're serving to drain that land over there directly. Along with that, then we have 32, which is a small tile that is on the northeast part of 72, and it outlets into 72. There's a few properties right on the fringes that appear to be benefiting by 32. Their water will drain to 32 before it goes to 72. That we recommend annexing these two parcels as well. Is there any questions on annexation? We'll have a reclassification hearing immediately after this. That's where we'll get into the actual dollars. Annexation is just a matter of saying you're in the district. There is nothing. It's a yes, no question at this point. Is there any questions or comments about annexation? Yes.
Yes, my name's David Mercer. I'm a landowner along the upper Hughes Lake. And a group of us are opposed to the annexation of it. And we will be filing an rejection letter with this. I understand the cost and all this training and whatever it might be. But we think that there's some other issues that are important to this. We will be objecting to them.
Okay. Do you want to file your objection now? Because you have up until the end of this hearing.
Right,
Objection,
well,
so-
I can do that on state immediately, then honors,
You-
whichever you like.
You can stand it here.
I'll do
Oh, Would you like to read it or part of it or sum it up, or do you want me? Would you like me to read it?
If you like, basically, we don't think that there is a benefit. To the annexation, it's been a private drainage for a long time. We've maintained it. Some of the things that were in the previous report have been fixed last year as far as removal of trees and the culvert has been set lower. Outflows have been fixed. We don't know if that part of the thinking, it doesn't sound like it is, but nevertheless.
So, yes, all of those things that you would have done on your private ditch, they were not a part of this consideration.
I understand,
It was all based on,
but it was in the previous engineer report.
yes. Yep, it was all, yes, and that was when there was a proposal to make that a district facility. And make that its own drainage district. This particular one, Drainage District 72, our reason for annexation is that private ditch is able to outlet into lateral 1B, and if 72 lateral 1B didn't exist, there wouldn't have been the possibility of a private ditch.
I guess my question is, why wasn't this annexed during the lateral review case?
Back when this was formed, it's a good question.
Have
It's
to go
not
back and
uncommon-
look.
It's not uncommon to find, we do an annexation in almost every project.
I
Sometimes,
understand that, but it's not that, it doesn't answer the question, I guess.
there was no record about why they didn't include them at the time. So we just have to speculate. Probably was. If they had constructed a private ditch, it probably was thinking that Lamini weren't interested in it. I know there was a time back when these were originally being established. Annexation wasn't possible in the early days when branches were first established. There was no annexation code. So it was when you establish a new district, to get a district established, you need a certain percentage of the people to vote yes. And so we typically will see at times when a district is newly established, they won't bring everyone in right from the start. Just mainly for, really at that point, it's just political reasons. They think someone's gonna vote no,
Sure.
they don't vote them in. Which probably isn't maybe the right thing to do at the time, but there was some of that we saw at times. And I don't know if that was the case in this particular one. But that it could have been that they had a private ditch. So they argued that they need this ditch. Because of that.
The other thing is that I'm not alone, I don't know the legalese of it, but on the second page, the second full paragraph. That addresses the topography of the land and surface water is very low. So then we'll further that to our attorney. Something there's a precedent for the time.
Yep, yeah, so file an objection, you do maintain the legal right to sue the district. So that's important that you got this filed. And moving forward, that is an option. So either the board can consider it and not annex these lands, or I still recommend annexation. Because of without 71 ditch, there wouldn't be an outlet for that private ditch, is the reasoning for it.
There's one last thing, I'm sorry. Since we already paid for a lot of the cleanup and stuff, there was also in the notice. I can find it in a sec. That we needed to, in our objection, mention, clean damages. You're further notified that all objections to the annexation of said lands. And any claims for damages must be read and filed with the county auditor of the county. So at the very end of the objection letter, there is something about the cost that we've included. And if it does, when you go annexation, we're asking the costs that we have incurred to be paid back.
Yep, it's in here, so it's in the notice. Looks like there was about 50,000 spent on the private ditch. Was any of this spent on branch 1B, or was it all upstream of branch 1B?
Where the particular invoice that's attached to this was all upper.
It was all, okay,
I think the county paid
because yeah, I know the
the
county,
gentleman to do one.
there was some clean on the county on 1B, okay, so that's not included, that's on this.
Right.
Like I said, it's in the notice, it's. The objection's been filed. Moving forward. Is there any other comments or questions on this?
We also filed, roof building trust. There's a very small fractional
Yes,
triangle in section 15 that drains immediately into the road ditch, actually, not into any tile or anything. And the actual sum of the acreages in DD 23 and in 72 amount to more than 20 acres.
yes, I saw,
So,
we got your note, we got yours, we're gonna handle yours during the classification, but. Since you did bring that up, the acres, that was a typo error. So we did use the DD 23 watershed boundary as our boundary, so those do match up.
so you reduce the acreage that you had in the original report.
So we will
You
reduce.
will, you will.
We will, we got this on Friday, so we haven't reduced it yet, but we did, that was a typo, it should have been. And we have to, we need to double check the other parcels as well, because they should have all matched up. The actual dollar amount though, since we use that same boundary, would stay the same. Is what it was, because it was
I
matching
just
up
think for the
right.
purposes of the long term, it should be decided where it goes.
Yeah, so yeah, it was meant to go this way, but it looks like we typed in that. The acres didn't match
So
up.
the adjustment will be either made in DD 23 or here or both.
We'll make the adjustment in here. It's easier to do it here than on 20.
And then that ground actually immediately slopes to the road ditch.
Mhm.
It really doesn't, to the best of our knowledge, ever flow into the tile or the tile's drainage area.
Mhm.
It flows down the road ditch all the way.
So,
And so we think the benefit should be assessed as being to the ditch. The ditch being the benefit rather than the tile.
mhm. So you are assessed for the ditch. That's part of it. We had you assessed for both the main tile and the main open ditch. The main tile actually further downstream is directly underneath the road ditch. So
Say again,
it's underneath the road ditch, further downstream of your place.
is there an intake that would take water?
If there's an intake or there's not an intake, that water will still be able to get into the tile, because it's 2 foot clay, so every 2 feet there's a gap, so that it'll help, that tile serves to drain the road ditch as well. I don't know if there's intakes, I would assume there's intakes, if there isn't,
There could be.
probably was.
you can put intakes on them. The county roads could put intakes on them, because that tile is designed to help drain the road ditch as well. So then I still recommend it, that is being served by the main tile, it's just going to the road ditch first. And eventually using some of the tile before going to the main open ditch.
So,
What?
I say, I know that.
Oh, okay. No, okay. All right, thanks. Is there any other questions or comments about annexation? We'll get into the dollars in the next hearing.
I've got just an error in this affected area here, and you don't have, I can hand it to you if you want. You don't have page numbers. None of this exists,
Okay,
and I'd like to get it noted for the county engineer and for all future reports.
It doesn't exist.
nothing. This is all pattern tile and granite here, and in this corner, and this is all pattern tile. And there's an open, there's actually a shown open ditch
Yeah.
down to about here that goes up into 23,
Mhm.
but this has never been there.
They never built it.
No, and I hunt it.
Okay.
Because it would have been beneficial at one time, but now it's kind of a riparian area.
Mhm. Yep, so yeah,
Me or my family owns all of it.
yeah, so county records show it, but
Yep.
if it wasn't built,
I went there and talked to Russ Meyer and Al Vans many years ago, and they said a lot of them were proposed and never built.
okay, so on that, we'll probably just recommend. Maybe doing a little further investigation to see if we actually find it out, and if we don't, we'll just recommend that this schedule be abandoned, so that, since there's no time.
Okay, and this affected area actually shows part of 32, and then this is all 72. This is a little annexation spot here
Mhm.
and up here.
So I think 32 is a tile that goes like this.
Yep.
That tile that exists.
Yes.
Okay. So we will do a little investigation,
Okay,
probably just to have somebody go out and dig it up one spot for road crossing.
well,
If we don't find anything, we don't.
He's already done it.
Yeah, we'll
funded
just,
for it.
then we'll just go with the idea that we'll abandon that schedule
Yeah.
as a facility.
Which type was that?
That's 1A.
1A, 1A1, 1A. Excuse, I'll start over again. L1A, L1A1, and L1A2. Now let me see here, in L1A1, I did find a culvert blocked off going into an open ditch,
Okay.
a private open ditch.
Mhm.
I don't know, it's probably public. I don't know, when I was cleaning it, anyway. But, I found a culvert, but I dug back and it's just like,
Yeah.
it went under a driveway at one time. And then everything else has been pattern tile where you wouldn't need it. You would have hit it and destroyed it in that time.
Yeah, we'll
But
recommend.
L1A has definitely never been there.
Okay. So yeah, we'll recommend that schedule is, was there a schedule existing for that one? I know,
Is this your guy taking notes? Maybe I can show him.
Yeah. No, I think I had to create one.
Okay, this is it. You gotta get that. This could have existed at one time. But then everything has been almost piled and gotten rid of. This here, there's actually a molding here. And so I dug and never found anything. Just go down and this is where it's really good deal with this swamp. Right. And I tried to find it at the dogwood, but we could see there's nothing on it. Probably
No, I guess we did have one. for-
quite a ways.
So we did have a schedule for it. So what is it?
Yeah.
I'm so curious for 32 outlets. I never. 32 outlets. 32 outlets, right?
About there. Let me mark that, this private ditch. This is. Ditch goes about like that. It goes down to here. And that's, I call that semi-private or whatever, and it goes here, and I think it goes over, that's how it. Like that.
Just Nate.
Yeah.
Just Nate.
That's what we were.
So I must.
So there's more market.
Since it's created into one district at large, so.
Two districts were merged, and there's all these ditches, private ditches all over the place.
Well, it was getting big as I had, and then people taking them with excavators and put. Added.
We struggle to figure out what existed when we were out there.
Yeah.
Because the record shows that, but then.
Well, these are all ditches here.
Yeah. the ditches,
Got it.
Right.
With that, I guess I'll go ahead and read the other objection, because that's kind of related to one. It's from Sarah. Minus.
Minutes.
Enos. This letter is regarding, would you like me to read it or just have it filed and I can?
That's regarding that 1A that's non-existent.
It's regarding one A, so that wouldn't be a schedule for one A. I can read this, or I can just be noted for the file if you'd like.
You can just know the file.
Okay. And yeah, that would be involved in one A, and I think your question was more about, you didn't want a project to go through there, and there's nowhere is the work proposed on any of them. And then on that one A doesn't mean that schedule will be null and void when we're done here today. Questions or comments on annexation before we move into reclassification?
Lateral 1C open ditch, that doesn't involve speeding.
You know, we didn't have a one C. We didn't have a one C open ditch schedule. Oh, that was, you mislabeled, it was we called that looked like it was a tile, lateral 3A. Is what it was, yeah, we called it one C open ditch on this, but there was a tile 3A. Is there a tile in that area?
Yeah, it could be that part of the vegetable field, it's part of mine, but part of the vegetable field.
I remember we were going through that one, there's an open ditch that kind of cuts it in half. Turns about right halfway through it, and we assume that the upstream part still drains to the open ditch, that private ditch, and the downstream part drains to the main ditch, was our assumption, that they cut that tile when they dug the open ditch.
That's
Do you have a page number for that?
Could be not. It's on this other.
Or 3A would be, it's the last schedule on the report. Would be the second to last page on the dollar per acre maps. The one way.
Second to last page.
This tile here. And there's an open ditch that cuts it right there. But the old records show there's a tile that went up through there.
Yeah.
And so we were going with the assumption that
Yeah.
it's still there, it's just got cut by the open ditch in half.
There's a tile there.
We have an intake in the two now. You know that intake is. Yeah, but you don't know the species there. That's the vegetable field.
Isn't that mine? Is that the one you're looking at?
It's this one right here on the building.
Yeah,
It's north of this open ditch here.
Yeah, it goes right through my property line.
yeah, that could be.
So that tile is still exists.
Well, there's something underground there,
Okay.
Yeah. I see what the intake is.
but it's not an open ditch.
No, yeah, the record showed it was a tile.
Oh,
You can vote on approving annexation or not approving annexation.
Is there any other questions on the annexation report?
I don't have any objection on the 32.
Any other corrections?
Yeah.
Sounds like you got them all noted.
I think I got it.
I'll take a motion then to close the public hearing on the annexation.
I'll make that motion.
Just have a motion and a second to close the annexation part. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We'll reconvene the regular meeting and make a decision on the annexation report.
All right, we did just get another objection from Jeff Berry. Berry, I am against annexation of my property
For the district.
into district, which property is yours?
It's just a small piece of the town. It's in 72.
Okay. That's also noted, so if there's a.
Yeah.
Check your rights.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing is protecting this.
Yep.
We've got the issues, we need the
As long as you do.
corrections or whatever.
Yep.
So,
I don't have any questions before.
and I don't think that would change annexation.
No.
That tile doesn't exist.
Right.
We wouldn't change annexation.
No
We
reclass.
change the reclassification.
payment schedule. Approve the annexation.
I would.
I have a motion to approve the annexation report. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That report passes. Now, I will recess the regular meeting and take a motion to open the public hearing on the engineer's report for reclassification on DD 32 and DD 72.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is open.
Hi, everyone. My name's Colton Cunningham. I work with Jacob. Jacob handled these classifications for the most part. I did a little bit on 72. I also surveyed Upper Goose Lake. So I'm gonna talk about the classification process and you answer any questions anyone has about that, and then we can get into particular tracts of land, particular parcels. But as Jacob noted earlier, 72 formed after the merger of 70 and 71 and hasn't been reclassified since since that merger. And obviously technology's gone a long ways and the law has changed. And so now we have the opportunity to make a more fair schedule that says the benefits to the land. So how classification is done is we use 4 different ratings. Your use of the facility, so that would be, if you're looking at a map, how much of the ditch or the tile, whatever the facility is, it needed to be built for your land to get access to it. So if you're down towards the bottom of the main open ditch, you needed less of the main dug than somebody who is up top here, all of the main dug. So your use rating would be lower than someone who's higher up. The next is proximity. That's how close you are to the facility, how easily you can access the facility through your drainage. The next is wetness. So that's using US soil survey data to tell how much in need of drainage the soil in the parcel is. And then runoff factor, which affects mostly non-agricultural lands. That's a factor we put on hard and non-porous surfaces because they run off more water into the watershed more quickly, increasing the drainage needs in the district. So after we get those ratings and we break them down, as you can see in your maps, there's a hexagon. Each hexagon in here is 1 acre. So we're able to map down to an acre basis. Obviously soil surveys are not that accurate, but we do what we can. And based on those, we're able to assign every hexagon a percentage benefit. And so when you read a classification schedule, there will be percentages 0 to 100. Those are often attributed as the percentage of whatever any hypothetical assessment, the percentage you pay. That's not the case. 100% of a classification rating is that means you're the highest assessed parcel. It doesn't mean you're paying 100% of the assessment. So if your parcel is assessed at 50%, that means you're paying 50% of what the highest assessed parcel would pay inside the district. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions about classification? About the process?
Well, I have WRP ground, you're classifying some of that as $42 to $70 an acre. I don't dump any water in the ditch.
You would dump some, different land uses do reduce water usage, but, you would still have water draining into the ditch. WRP, is that,
Water reserve program.
is that permanent?
Yes.
Okay, we could
There is,
make an adjustment.
there has been times where people, when counties have made adjustments for like county conservation ground or for permanent easement ground, permanent conservation ground. That's something the board is interested in doing. Have you guys done that before, in Wood County?
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think so. Pocahontas County did it once.
All the tiles have been plugged. The water has been, there's 4 ponds, the water drains into the ponds.
Right, I mean, obviously, the goal is to not drain it, so.
But yeah, we could make an adjustment on that. It's like that since it's permanent, we don't, for like CRP ground, someone puts a land in CRP, you know, for any easement. Yeah, we don't make an adjustment because the current schedule has been in place for 100 years. CRP expires in 30, someone will farm it, but wetland reserve is a different program where it's permanently in there. You may have some, for the record, it'd probably be good if you had a to show us, maybe bring in an easement or something like that, so we can have that in the record for when it was used. Like possible, if you know. And reason agreement with the wetlands of the program, I'm not sure, they give you a sheet of paper that says. It's from permanent easement.
Yeah.
That'd probably be good for the record, keeping, you know, why it was used.
I believe those easements are actually filed with the county,
Okay,
because it goes along with the property of the land, so it should be on file. There should be a survey.
It's been in for
okay.
And we don't check every parcels. We check them at a watershed level. So,
But yeah, we could make an adjustment on that. To reduce that assessment by a certain percentage. If not, all the way down to 0. You don't want to look at. We could look at a runoff factor, that was how we do that. We pulled out like a runoff factor for roads. We could look at a similar thing where runoff's different for wetland. Grass area than it is for ag, but you know, we make the adjustment.
But is there something about, is that annexed land or that's land that was already in it? Cause didn't we have issues with that before, that you can never totally get out of a district if you were already in a yeah,
No, minimum.
minimum payment
District, but we could reduce it down,
to the $5.
or we could reduce it as a percentage.
If there is a little runoff factor, yeah.
If there is a run factor, and maybe we could do it as a comparison to crop land. It's reduced 70% reduction or something like that. We can look at that. Do a runoff comparison for that. That probably be the easiest way to do it. As opposed to just saying.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause that's what we'll do with if somebody. If their surface water flows one way, but they're tiled out in the other direction, we'll take into account what their tile capacity is and reduce it. So that is similar to this, because you're reducing your overall runoff.
any other questions about the classification process? All right, so, does everybody have these maps? Color coded, so, red means more dollars per acre, and the hexagon green is fewer. So I'm just gonna run down every lateral and every facility, on an average dollars per acre. And then you can kind of see, if you, underneath the total assessment of a parcel, and I guess, important thing to note too, is that the, let's see, do they have that? You guys have a list of the schedules? They just have the map.
Just the map.
So these dollar amounts are based on a hypothetical $100,000 assessment. Now, that's not what what assessment you get. It could be higher, it could be lower, depending, it all depends on the size of your facility and what future costs are. But $100,000 is a nice round number to multiply by when you're doing assessments. So
Chairman, sorry, Jackie, what is the current debt on 72? Do you know that?
72?
It'll only be used for the current debt for this first assessment. It won't be $100,000.
So like our.
and then
outstanding
any
stamp
future
warrants,
project.
Mhm.
basically. I ran one Friday. So we've got roughly 48,000 in outstanding stamp warrants right now
All total,
for 72.
for all the districts combined, for all 70.
How about
72.
32?
32. Ran that one on Friday too. Like, where'd it go? It's here somewhere. There it is. A little over 6,000.
So then how that would, like, for example, using those numbers.
That's- Is that just for engineering fees or something? If nothing, no
Like
work
what we
has
would
been
do for
done?
like spraying or different things that were built out over the years or
Like I'm sure 72. would
for
have-
outstanding stamp warrants.
Yeah.
72 would have had the work that was on the ditch clean out, one B was cleaned out. Probably was.
But that wouldn't be 32 directly.
No, that wouldn't be 30. 32 is
32
probably mostly ditch area.
May or may not have been some spraying because we do a third of the county every year. So every 3 years, your districts get sprayed for trees and that stuff, keep the ditches clean, the open ditches. So there may or may not be some of that in there too.
So then to use 32 as an example of how you could estimate your costs. These are based on a $100,000 assessment. If you're actually having a $6,000 assessment, you multiply your dollars per acre, or your dollars per parcel by 6%. And that's what you could estimate your assessment at. Just going through here quickly, I'm gonna say the dollar per acre for every facility, just so you have something to compare to. For the open main ditch, dollars per acre is $36. For the main tile, $560 per acre. For the lateral 1A open ditch, $215 per acre. For the lateral 1B open ditch, $90 per acre. For the lateral 3A tile, $868 per acre. I can go through those again. If some people have multiple, there's a lot of. Or you can come see me after the hearing. Yeah, does anyone have any questions, concerns? I'd like to file an objection. This wouldn't be tied to annexation at all. It'd be purely tied to how much you're classified at.
Yeah, I wanna be sure I get that WRP.
I think the objections that were filed in annexation will refile them for reclassification.
Correct.
So I think they all account for that.
Yep.
Could my, pointing out that that 1A, 1A1 and 1A2 do not exist, should that be filed as an objection? In writing?
Yeah, go ahead and write it down. We're gonna amend both our annexation and our reclassification reports for some clarification.
Because that should change
Remove the schedule.
the availability of that particular parcel to water or to drainage,
Mhm. But
if there's no ditch there
yeah, there's no tile.
or
there.
tile.
So it did affect, that one schedule will be completely taken off. As for its relation to the main open ditch. The idea is that it's still, distance traveled is still the same as if that tile existed.
It would change your proximity
It
factor.
would change approximately.
We could probably very quickly.
We'll need to take a look at that
Do I
as
need to
well.
object or are you guys gonna take care of it?
I mean, we will take
We'll-
care of it,
we'll
but
take care
feel
of it.
free to
We can go ahead and
object.
object just to be.
Okay.
Just write it on the back.
Just to be
You wanna
official.
cover your bases.
It's also being recorded here, so it's, yeah. Definitely
I'll
noted.
write it on the back of that.
Because, we would plan on filing an amended annexation and reclassification report for clarifying and also make some
Can I grab you a
changes.
blank piece of paper if you want one?
Judge.
His name's on.
Yeah.
So we'll get that objection in and, so I guess, then we will be amending the classification report, but with the amendments that we've already discussed, recommend approving the classification report as filed.
Yeah, you guys, you approved it in the regular board meeting, you know, which will be good. Have a hearing. For it, it's just gonna be clarification on it. We are changing dollar amounts though. Maybe you continue this hearing.
What was the last part?
We may need to continue this hearing since there will be some changes made.
Changes.
Um,
Just because we're changing dollar amounts. Correct.
Because that's something that we'll want to clarify. The objections that were filed for the annexation, we'll want to clarify those.
Correct.
To file an amendment report for that as well.
Yep.
And if that makes any changes on the,
How will you resolve these acreages at the breakpoints, with other drainage districts? Will they have to take action as well?
no, so you have an objection filed, and we will also make those changes as part of our amendment report.
Not only to DD 72, but also to 23.
23 will be, we'll use 23 as it is what it is, we'll match ours.
Okay,
And it should have matched up when we did it. I think, looked like yours was a typo error, more than a transpose error, a math error. And just the total acres, but we're gonna double check everyone else's.
you'll assume those other drainage districts are correct and make the changes.
Yes, it's much easier to, even if it was off the other way, it's much easier to change this one now than to try to change 23, 5 years later. Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to continue this hearing, just to get our bases, make sure everyone, because otherwise, if we just file out you guys approve the board meetings, you know, the people who are affected wouldn't have an opportunity to
Object again?
object to what our
Check everything.
what our changes are. That makes sense, to everyone, that way everyone has an opportunity to see it again after it's been changed.
Any other comments or questions on reclass?
I have a question. You mentioned 23, you're talking about range 23, but on the map, it shows range district number 32.
Yeah, you guys just flip flopped it,
Did they
didn't
get-
you?
No, 23 borders.
He has
Oh,
He has
okay.
property in 32 and 72, and then they didn't add up, it was more acres than he owned.
No,
So that's why he
23 's
filed
right
that
above it.
objection.
23 is the range that's directly north of this one. And when we, on
North and
your,
east.
yeah, on your property, we had
Would be in the
Add it up.
vicinity.
Yeah.
acres would end up being more.
Right above.
When we made that change.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll take a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
During the hearing, continue the hearing.
Yeah, we need to continue.
We instead of closing it.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
When am I continuing it? What works for you?
You just told the public hearing, so.
Reconvene a regular meeting to continue this.
Yep.
Yeah, then I'll, as long as I got a motion and a second, it passes, I'll reconvene the regular meeting. And then we'll do that.
We're gonna be
Yep.
up here.
We need to set up a date.
Yep.
That's a big day though.
Yeah.
We gotta have it anyway.
That's a lot that day.
We should close because, we're extending it, leaving it open. I think that's how we did the last. We want to do the 13th. First week, no, the 13th. They give you enough time. Or give us 2 weeks to make these changes. Should be okay.
This is not time for no.
Or we can, we'll do the 20th of March. 20th, is that because of one meeting that day?
Yes,
Yeah, holiday is it?
not yet anyway.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, you're right. March 20th works for me. Yes.
So we're looking at March 20th after the board meeting, so 9:30.
Or 9:30.
9:30.
Just so you guys know, there won't be letters sent out again. This is your notification right now. March 20th at 9:30. We'll continue this hearing with the discussions we had on making the corrections.
So if there's anyone that you know is not here that needs to be here, let them know March 20th, so.
We'll have to vote to continue it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll take them in the minutes, but
I'll make a motion to continue this hearing until March 13th or March 20th at 9:30 a.m.
Your second,
I will second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This- So is this for both districts still, or just for one of them?
It'd be for the whole. thing.
Both men about
Mhm.
labor code, innovation, and classification. Let's go with that.
Now, close it.
Yes.
It's continued, so it's done.
It's done.
Yeah, we can reconvene.
I'll reconvene the regular meeting. If there's nothing else, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, meeting adjourned.
You get it in 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, you'll be able to follow, actually. That day too.
Yep, that'll be the same thing if there's